นี่นะเขาไม่ได้ปิดเลยนะ
ไล่ทั้งวันกลางคืนก็ค้างคืน
แล้วเขากินข้าวอ่ะ
ก็ไล่อยู่ด้วยแหละ
เหรอแต่เขาไม่ได้ไลฟ์โชว์ออกกำลังกายนะ
เพราะเขาขายของก็ต้องไล่ขายของสิ
อาจจะไม่ได้ออกกำลังกายนะ1.2
กินอ้วน
เขาเห็นเขากินได้เหรอ
ไม่ใช่เขาใส่เสื้ออย่างนั้นเราก็รู้ว่า
แต่ว่าเขาไม่ได้ไลฟ์กินใช่ไหมเขาไลฟ์แค่ขายของนะคือว่าจะทำอะไรเขาก็ไลฟ์ไปด้วยนะแต่ยกเว้นเข้าซ่วมกับไปฉี่ที่ตั้งไลฟ์ไว้นะอันนั้นใน TikTok ไหมของเช่นใน YouTube thank you เดี๋ยวอันนี้เทใส่อันนี้กันเถอะเดี๋ยวมันจะรวมกันอันนี้ก็จะได้รู้ว่าอันนี้ของพวกนี้ได้เคลียร์ให้หมดก่อนนะเดี๋ยวอันใหม่ใส่นี้
อะไรอีก
ก็ให้พอนะมีสตรอเบอรี่กับ
กินเป็นเก่าให้หมดก่อนเถอะเนี่ย
ไม่หมายถึงว่าทำไว้ไง
เฮ้ยเมื่อกี้จะเอาอะไรลืม
มีแชมพูมีสตรอเบอรี่มีแตงโมอันนี้อันเดียวเดี๋ยวก็หมดอ๋อเธอปิด Wi-Fi เช่นนี่ว่าWi-Fi หาย
ต้องซิกใหม่
เอาไว้เหรอไอ้น้ำชอบเปิดตรงไหน
ที่ไหนโอ้ยมะม่วงนั่งหมดได้ไหม
แบบม่วงเหรอNo everyone This is banana Time to eatมันมีแมงวันอยู่ตัวหนึ่งนะเธอเฮ้ยนี่ไงออกไปแล้วเนี่ยออกไปจะได้เย่มากินมันมาอยู่นี่ ฮะใช่เหรอได้ยินเบา
I'ma stay loud, drowning out the noise. The haters always thinking that they can fucking break me. They're better off eating their own words like pastries. Hate me, and
Time
you
to
better
eat,
find
everyone.
safety. I'm coming in hot like a bad bitch and pasties. They can't save me, no I ain't lazy. No, but society has me going so crazy. Yo,
Like
don't
banana.
blame me, no my mind's hazy. Yo, and I'm sick of me feeling this way lately. Live my life till it's over. And I will not forgive those who hold me down. And I will never give up. I'm moving forward. And I will never miss my chance. Take it now.
Ooh.
Got one life, so live it right. Keep your friends tight and your family in sight. Never cease to fight for the things you think are right. Cause you just might find you control your own mind, eh? You'll be fine, eh? Just take your time, eh? Enjoy the climb, eh? Enjoy the grind, eh? You never really know what's on the other side till you give that shit a try. Know the limit is the sky, eh? Make them take it back what they said about you. Every time they doubt you, make that shit about you. Forget about the clout, yo. Fuck the word of mouth, yo. Keep your head down, yo. Work until you found, yo. Fight until you make it, yo. Don't think it, no, just take it. Don't wait for someone to break it. Take control and don't just fake it, eh? You can make it happen. You just gotta take some action. Take the ship and be the captain. Head on out and don't look back, yeah. I will always live my life till it's over. And I will not forgive those who hold me down. And I will never give up. I'm moving forward. And I will never miss my chance. Take it now.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nice. Okay. เสียชีวิตว้าวโอเคตีไปได้ยังไงวันเช็คอินประมาณ4 โมง 4 โมงครึ่งนะเมื่อวาน25 ชั่วโมงครับ
Keep on working, got purpose and worth. Music's my cure, and this world is my purse. Get rid of this curse with every verse. Of course, I've been hurt, but some have been much worse. Leave me alone, get out of my head. Walk out the opinions until I am dead. They all go to sleep, but you listen instead. Listen some more, and you'll cease to regret. I keep on working, I got it on track. You gonna see my name up on the flag. I feel the sheep, and I'll never come back. I keep this bitch on the line to attack. Never look back. I make a record like Crash. Top of my bracket, I smash. I'm like a pack. I'm about to stack it like cash. It's gonna happen so fast. Never change myself. I've always stayed the same.
เดี๋ยวแม่งไว้เข้ามา
Doubt. I've always played the game all out, and I am here to stay right now. So don't call it a call.
มันก็เหมือนกัน
อยู่โดน
อืม
I ain't running, just stay steady, gunning do my thing. I don't look the other way, I stare that motherfucker straight. Don't care what they say, nah, everyone's the same. Don't get caught up in their game, just pick your lane and do your thing. I don't just wanna be great, I'll be the best. Make everybody forget all the rest. Man, I feel blessed, bulletproof vest. Over my chest for that haters request. I'll be okay, I pick my lane. I'ma stick to it like horse in the fame. This is the game that we all play, and I'ma never get the fuck out my way. Change myself, I've always stayed the same. No doubt, I've always played the game all out, and I am here to stay right now. So don't call it a comeback.
รู้สึกนะ อืมอันนี้ผู้ชายจีนขับถ่ายดีมากเลยเธอกินสองลูกเนี่ยตอนเช้าว่าแล้วทำไมขับถ่ายดีอย่างที่หมอพรเทพบอก
You're feeling down on your luck, you're tired and stuck, and nothing's enough. You gotta pick yourself up, cause life gets hard. It might leave scars, can tear you apart if you let it be smart. Yeah, you wanna be just like the stars. Take me to Mars, high up and far, cause that's a start. All I know is that I love making art, straight to my heart. Keep up my guard and always work hard. Yeah, it's hard to have faith when you had a taste of this awful place. And if that's the case, you're sitting there sick and tired of the rat race. The fast pace has you thinking this a bad place. You just wanna blast off into outer space. I get it, trust me, I've been there, just wait. It gets better if you take control of your fate. So stop waiting and get going your own way. Broken dreams and these hopeless teens, how it's supposed to be.
เราพอดีเว้ย
Are all these
Apple
broken
cider vinegar.
dreams and these hopeless teens, how it's supposed to be. Yeah.
หมดพอดีเว้ย
I'm sick and tired of these broken dreams, these broken teens, sitting down on broken screens. It sucks, cause I really know what hopeless means, but focus seems to stem from the darkest themes. Don't park your dream, get a jump start and dream of everything you thought you ever wanted to be. Then mark your team together, you could be something. Be smart and see that you is all you really need. Yeah, sometimes you gon' feel like you don't know. Sometimes you gon' feel like it's going slow. Sometimes you gon' wish that it came fast. Sometimes you gon' dwell back on the past. Yeah, I'm here to tell you that it won't last. Your mind's stronger than you think. Get past all the things that keep you feeling bad, and pick yourself up and carve your own path. These broken dreams and these hopeless teens, how it's supposed to
ครู
be.
ครูมินเธอครูมิน
Are all these broken dreams and these hopeless teens, how it's supposed to be. Yeah. Yo, all these thoughts keep me up at night. Yeah, what am I doing? Did I do it right? Yeah, all these thoughts keep me up at night. Yeah, I can't think straight, need the light. I need to breathe. Get me up and out of the sheets, under my feet. Another cup of coffee in me, that's what I need. My eyes puffy, I can't see. I'm too tired to function, but too fast to sleep. Hey, I think I need to be on something medication. I think I need to figure out the segregation. I think I need just a better education to understand the world that's so complicated. Intoxicated, every night faded, just so I can sleep thinking that it's faded. I feel hated, I feel hatred. I'm lost deep in my mind that I created. I have dreams where my life is devastated. Feel so real that I wake up shaking. You think it's scared cause this life is no haven. Nod your head if you get what I'm saying. All these thoughts keep me up at night. Yeah. What am I doing? Did I do it right? Yeah. All these thoughts keep me up at night. Yeah. I can't think straight, need the light. Yo, all these thoughts keep me up at night. Yeah. What am I doing? Did I do it right? Yeah. All
จะหมดแล้วมั้ย
keep me up at night. Yeah, I can't think straight, need the light. I don't really think I understand this world now. Got my head spinning round in a circle. Everybody lacks what they need internal, so they compensate with everything external. Not trying to throw shade, no way. I'm just trying to find the meaning of life. Hey, there's happiness if you try to live the right way. Forget about what others have and live your life. Hey, be aware of who you are, what you're good at. Take a step forward, see where your foot's at. Stand tall, stand proud, talk loud. Every word out your mouth has purpose now. You
เออ
just gotta
ไอ้
get
เนี่ย
rid of
พวก
the
ผลไม้
bad
ใหม่
thoughts.
ๆพวก
And others 'cause you know that they gotta lie.
คืออาหารเด็ด
You got plenty, you're alive in this life. You
มี
got
เจ็ดพันนะ
all these thoughts keep me up at night.
มันไม่มีอะไรละโมตุบู
แค่สตรอเบอรี่
เดี๋ยวก็ร้องน้อง
โอเคเดี๋ยวกินเดี๋ยวเจอแล้ว อ๋ออร่อยว่ะ
Yeah, let's go. I'm unstoppable. Do the impossible. I'm irresponsible. Yeah, I'm phenomenal. I got an arsenal. I'm dropping bombs, you know. No one will stop it, no. Conquer the obstacle. To the top, here I go, think I'm chosen to be the king of rock. Think the people are smoking. I can hear the tick tock of the clock. I'm in motion, so now I'm gonna pop, causing all this commotion. Yeah. Sometimes I think that I'm unstoppable. Yeah, ready to go, man, lock and load. That's right. I swear to God that I could drop it, bro. Yeah, I got a shot and I ain't stopping, no. That's how I know that I'm unstoppable. That's how I know that I'm unstoppable. Yeah, let's go. I don't care what they all say. That's right. I'ma do this thing my way. They grinding hard on it all day. Okay. We work hard, then we all play. Yeah. I'm addicted to the grind, man. That's right. So I refuse to waste time, man. Yeah. One day it all will be fine, man. Let's go. Gotta commit to the climb, man. You know I'm back with the Guinness, setting records every minute, every track. In addiction to the fact that we're winning, still we lack something's missing. Need a track that is hitting, making racks, making millions. Rap, that's the mission. I don't waste time, no, I make time. All these people wanna hate, fine, I'ma make mine. While you sitting there complaining, I'll be training. While you sitting there just waiting, I'm creating. Yeah. Sometimes I think that I'm unstoppable. Yeah. Ready to go, man, lock and load. That's right. I swear to God that I could drop it, bro. Yeah. I got a shot and I ain't stopping, no. That's how I know that I'm unstoppable. That's how I know that I'm unstoppable.
ได้ไหมเนี่ย
Girl, you got me shook from the way your body looks. Got me riding hooks, got me feeling like a rook. I don't do it by the book, but for you I'll take a look. Don't know what your mama took, sweet and spicy like a cook, yeah. I'll keep it real, let's make a deal. Buy you a meal if you just let me feel. Get out your heels, grab on the wheel. Back to my place at the top of the hill. Don't have regrets, I know what's next. She need to fresh, I'll be back in a sec. Look at them legs, don't make me beg. Back to the room, let me show you my bed. Yeah, your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Touching on your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. I could look at you all day, watch the way them hips sway. Love your body, so I pray. Don't you dare take it away. Can't control what I say. Lost my mind, cause your frame. Hey, girl, what's your name? Lit me up just like a flame. Body in motion, I feel the commotion. Beyond you like lotion, I'm honest and broken. I flow like the ocean, I feel you were chosen to fix me. I'm broken, my heart that you stolen. Hey, stay with me, play with me, play with me. Hate to see when you leave, chemistry feels like it's destiny. I just want you laying next to me, and I really don't want you to touch me. On your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Touching on your body feels like taking on a drug. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb. Everything you do, I can't seem to get enough. You got me feeling good, yeah, you got me feeling numb.
อะไร
เปรี้ยว
Lions don't give up. Lions don't quit. Lions hearts. That's what we do for a living. Your character is put to the test when your back is against the wall.
จะเอามะม่วงกับว่าอะไรอะไรนะ
Yo, stand up. We gon' make some moves tonight. Yeah, stand up. Got something to prove tonight. So stand up. We gonna take action on our dreams and fight. Alright. We ain't
จะ
gonna
กินในนี่ให้หมดที่มันโดนผมเนี่ยหรือมันติดนะ
We ain't gonna play tonight. We gonna take action on our dreams and fight. Alright. I'ma stand up, take control tonight. Spend too much time on the plan, it's right. It's time to execute now on your dream in life. Gotta fail fast, learn, try again and fight. Alright. Pull the trigger. 6, 7 years. Making that money from the drive that's in ya. Go bigger, making money quicker. Pain is good, make your skin a little thicker. Boy, it ain't luck. Anyone that's at the top, no, it ain't luck. It's a grind, it's a time since the day one. It's your mind deep inside, how you stay tough, how you get back up. You put the work in, and it comes back, multiplies that. Execute and you can take that. What you want bad, it's the truth, I'm the change that. You can make that, yeah, I've done it. It ain't luck, I can make you stand up. We gon' make some moves tonight, yeah, stand up. Got something to prove tonight, so stand up. We ain't gonna plan tonight, we gonna take action on our dreams and fight, alright. We ain't gonna stall, never stop. We gon' make it all to the top. We ain't gonna plan tonight, we gonna take action on our dreams and fight, alright. Take action on our dreams and fight, alright. Take action on our dreams and fight, alright. You can get it all in some time. Make your dreams come to life. We ain't thinking small, thinking light. We just want it all in our sights. Move quicker, see the big
จะ
picture.
ถ่ายดี
You could be selfish or you could be a giver. Go wizard, problem solve fixer.
แต่ไม่
We
เห็น
ain't
มัน
giving up till it's all delivered. Don't stop the time, we gon' make it alright. No lies, just hard work and live some long nights. Get lost, we dive deeper, disciplined life. The cost of sweat, time, yeah, worthy price. I don't care what they all say, no way. Negativity, any hate, I got no space.
พอหยิบไปแล้วก็กัด
Hands up to the sky.
อืมจะระวัง
To
intermittent fasting. And hello, health champions. Today we're going to talk about OMAD versus 2MAD. Eating 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day. Is one better, or does it just depend on the person and the circumstances? So today we're going to cover all the different factors that you need to understand so that you can decide when and if one is better for you. Coming right up. Hey, I'm Dr. Eckberg. I'm a holistic doctor and a former Olympic decathlete. And if you want to truly master health by understanding how the body really works, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. OMAD and 2MAD are both forms of intermittent fasting. And just real quick, if you eat 2 meals a day, and let's say that you eat lunch at noon and you eat dinner at 8, then you have an 8-hour feeding window. There's 8 hours during the day that you're eating, and there's 16 hours a day that you're not eating. If you squeeze that together a little bit, so you're eating lunch at noon and dinner at 6, now you have an 18-6 intermittent fasting pattern. If you squeeze it a little bit further, so you have lunch at 2 and dinner at 6, now you have a 20-hour fasting window and a 24 intermittent fasting pattern. And now if you squeeze that just a little bit further, then you have 1 meal a day where you're eating only 1 meal, eating all the food of that day in about an hour window or so. So they're really kind of similar, but they're different degrees of intermittent fasting. So you're stretching your fasting window from 16 to almost 24 hours. Now, why would someone want to do this, and what are the advantages and issues? Well, most people who get into intermittent fasting or ketogenic diet and so forth, then it's because they want to lose weight. Okay? It's by far the greatest and biggest reason for most people. And even though I totally understand that, I'm not a big fan of putting that as the priority, because we have to understand that the weight is not the root cause. There is a reason for the weight gain. There's a reason the weight won't come off, and we have to find and solve that reason, and that's the priority. And when we do that, then the weight comes off easy, or at least consistently, and we're addressing the root cause, so we're getting some health benefit. We're fixing the body at the root, and we're getting healthier. The biggest reason for weight gain is insulin resistance, and the far gone state of insulin resistance is called type 2 diabetes. So that's the second biggest reason that people want to do intermittent fasting or low carb, is to reduce insulin resistance if they are maybe pre-diabetic, they have what's called insulin resistance, or if they're full-blown type 2 diabetics. But we want to realize that the weight loss, the vast majority of people who have excess weight, the reason is that they are insulin resistant, and that is the thing that you're actually trying to resolve. For some people, it might be that they want to do OMAD or 2MAD to maintain the gains that they've made. They were overweight and they've lost the weight, and now they want to maintain it. Or it might be someone who was never overweight but wants to maintain their health and not become insulin resistant or diabetic. And that's the best place to be, to fix things before they become a problem. There's the popular saying, don't fix it if it ain't broke. And I totally disagree with that, because what that says in a health sense is that wait for a disease before you do something, and that's not prevention. Okay? We want to prevent things. We want to maintain the highest possible level of health. Now, for some people, they don't really have a weight issue or a insulin resistance issue, but they're still interested in intermittent fasting because they're interested in longevity and improved immunity. And both of those are results of something called autophagy. Autophagy is when the body upregulates its recycling when resources become more scarce in the body, such as when you're not eating, the body gets better at using them efficiently. So it starts recycling and reusing, and it gets more efficient at using and repairing what's there. So as a result, your immune system starts working better, because some of those foreign things, some of those proteins that it's recycling are pathogens like virus and bacteria and yeast and parasites. And it's well documented that fasting and calorie restriction increases longevity. So we'll talk more about that. And some people do it just to save time. They have solved their health issues, they maintain what they're doing, they're getting some autophagy, they know that. But one of the greatest benefits is that they wake up in the morning, and it's liberating that the first thing they do is not to have to go and eat. They can start their day, just shower, get dressed, and get right to it. And then they'll eat later in the day sometime, but it's not urgent. Okay, they could eat at noon, they could eat at 2 o'clock, they could eat at 6 o'clock. It's not a big deal. And that's a great thing to get to that point. And then there's the issue of calorie restriction. So it is a physical fact. It's a law of physics that you have to burn more calories than you put in. But in terms of physiology, it's not quite that simple, because hormones determine how hungry we are, which determines how much we eat and so forth. And when we talk about calorie restriction, typically people talk about eating many small meals, but smaller meals with fewer calories in each meal. And they try to have frequent snacks, but they want to keep them under 100 calories. And that's a really bad idea, because what people find is that it is much, much harder to eat a little bit frequently than to eat a lot on a few occasions. Because once you eat a little bit all the time, you trigger the body's desire for food. And that's why the typical idea of calorie restriction is so hard to maintain, whereas calorie restriction that results naturally from eating fewer meals is very, very easy. If you just skip a meal, the body says, oh, I'm hungry, and then you have a cup of tea, and the body says, okay, well, I'm good for now. This may be hard to believe if you haven't tried it, but talk to some people who have tried it, or give it a try yourself, and you will find that once you get into it, you get a little bit fat adapted, then it is very, very easy that you don't get hungry. Personally, it is, when I'm recording this, it's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and all I've had today is a cup of coffee and a cup of tea. And I could eat, but I'm not particularly hungry. And I don't have any weight to lose, I don't have insulin resistance, but I like the time savings, and I like the fact that I'm getting some autophagy. So when people get into OMAD or 2MAD, okay, it works great for most people, at least for a time. But then there may be some issues down the road. And some of these issues might be a plateau. A lot of people might find great benefits, they lose some weight, but then they hit a plateau and nothing happens. Other people might do this and they notice, hey, I feel a little better, I'm not as hungry, but I haven't lost a single pound. Or some people lost their weight, they reached their goal, they want to maintain the autophagy and the fasting, they want to maintain the time savings, but they lose too much weight. They get thinner than they want to be, than they feel good with. Or some people might get digestive upsets when they try to eat all that food in one sitting. If they don't have a strong digestive system, then it can be difficult to digest that much food in one sitting. Because if you eat 1,000 calories per meal in 2 meals, then the body has to make a certain amount of hydrochloric acid and a certain amount of digestive enzymes to process that food. If you eat 2,000 calories in one sitting, the body has to make twice as much all at once. So you have to have a stronger digestion to get away with eating 1 meal a day. And some of that, of course, is just getting the body habituated, getting the body used to it. So if you do this on a gradual pattern, then you can probably work up to it. Another issue that is not so common if you do it right is that you get too hungry. For the most part, that's because you try to do things too quick. If you ease into it, then there typically will not be a problem. If you go slow enough to get your body fat adapted, to teach your body how to use fat as the primary fuel instead of carbohydrates where you have to top it off all the time, you typically won't get hungry. But for some people, it's still an issue. Or for some people, they're losing weight or they're reversing insulin, their blood sugar going down, their insulin's going down, but for some reason they feel it's not happening fast enough, that they feel that there's a timeline and they want it to go faster. So now that we understand some of the variables and some of the issues that we're working with, let's try to understand the physiology a little bit closer. Like, what's the main difference between 1 meal a day or 2 meals a day from an internal perspective? What's actually happening in the body? So if you eat 1 meal a day, and this is the 24 hours of the day, then this would be midnight, and this is noon, and this is midnight again. And we're just going to assume, if you eat OMAD, you could eat your meal at any time during the day. But we're just going to assume that you work, you come home, and you have your one meal at 6 o'clock. At 6 o'clock, you go from a fasting state, you go from a place where your body has made a lot of ketones, it's in a good state of autophagy, at least if you're fat adapted. And then as you eat, you start packing in a lot of food all at once. You're going to go from that fasted state, from a state that promotes insulin sensitivity, to an insulin resistant state all at once. Okay, you eat a bunch of food, your body increases the insulin production in response to all that food, because your body has to process it and the insulin has to take the nutrients out of the blood and into the cell. So even if you're not technically long-term insulin resistant, you are promoting insulin resistance in that state. You're in the fed state, you're in the storing state, all right? And there's nothing wrong with that. We obviously have to eat sometime. So that lasts for a few hours while the body is processing that food, and then the insulin drops, and after a few hours you return into a state where you're becoming more insulin sensitive. You're moving, the momentum goes from insulin resistance to insulin sensitivity. And here's the key with OMAD, with 1 meal a day, that once you get into that insulin sensitive place and you don't put any more food in, the longer you go without putting any new food in, the more you're promoting insulin sensitivity. The more ketones you make, the more autophagy you get. And so this is the continuation of that graph. By midnight, we're a little bit into insulin sensitivity again. And then as long as we don't eat again, we wake up in the morning, we go to work, but because we don't eat, we keep increasing the autophagy and the insulin sensitivity. If we eat 2 meals a day, let's say that we're doing an 18-6 pattern, so we're eating at noon and we're eating at 6, then the thing would be exactly the same except for the jump at noon. So we have 2 times where we get into insulin resistance. There's twice a day where we're breaking the momentum of moving toward insulin sensitivity instead of just 1. And what that does, other than giving us 2 times where we become a little insulin resistant, is it shortens the time that we are without food, and therefore we don't get the same depth. We don't get the same momentum toward insulin sensitivity. We don't give the body the same opportunity to burn off stored resources because we eat sooner. And therefore we don't get the depth of insulin sensitivity that we would with a longer fast. So insulin sensitivity is a big thing, that the longer you go, the more insulin sensitive you become. The other thing is autophagy, that if you're looking for autophagy, there is no exact consensus of when that kicks in. We do know that if you're on a low-carb, high-fat diet, if you're already making ketones when you start the fast here just before midnight, then you'll probably have a significant amount of autophagy in about 14 to 16 hours. Definitely by 18 hours you'll have some good autophagy, but it's a matter of degrees, all right? The longer you go, the more you get. It's not like you never have any, but those extra 6 hours will dramatically increase the amount of autophagy that you enjoy. So with that in mind, let's just look at who might benefit from what and when. So OMAD would be the best way to go if you want faster results, right? If you're trying to lose weight faster, if you want to reverse type 2 diabetes faster, then go OMAD. If you want more autophagy, if your main concern is longevity, immune benefits, then you would want to go OMAD, because OMAD is dramatically better for autophagy than 2MAD would be. OMAD, however, is harder to sustain. Some people do get hungry, some people lose too much weight, some people have digestive upsets, some people find it difficult to eat that much food in such a short period of time. So therefore it's harder to sustain. Some people get excess weight loss. And just in terms of long-term health, that once you have lost the weight that you want to lose, you want to maintain, now what you're looking for is health. And your body is going to require a certain amount of nutrients. You need vitamins and minerals and essential amino acids and essential fatty acids. So the amount of food that you have to eat to provide those nutrients, it's much more difficult to eat that in a single meal than it is in 2 meals. And then 2 meals a day is easier to sustain for all of the same reasons. You don't get quite as hungry, it's easier to maintain the weight, it's easier to get the nutrients. But of course, the drawback is that you don't get as fast a result and you don't get the same depth of autophagy that you would with OMAD. And for some people who want an even stronger degree of fast results or more autophagy, maybe they have cancer, maybe they have an autoimmune disease, maybe they have a really stubborn weight or type 2 diabetes, then they might want to go longer than 24 hours in a fast. They might want to go 36 hours or 48 hours, or they might want to do 3-day fast or 4-day fast, and not all the time, not like every week, but you want to change things up a lot and throw those in once in a while. Again, that's why we want to understand these principles, because there is not one set perfect way to do it for every person. It's going to depend on a lot of different factors. So you want to understand this stuff so that you can start playing around with it and understand why things are happening, and then find the way that works for you. So now what do you do with this? Well, it depends on where you are. So let's just figure out where you are on the scale. If you're eating 3 or more meals a day, then your first step would be to get fat adapted. If you're eating 3 meals plus snacks, you are probably carbohydrate dependent, because carbohydrate dependence is the only reason that you would want to top off your blood sugar with a snack every couple of hours. If your body knows how to burn fat, you're not going to need to eat that often. So that would be step 1. You go from eating all those meals high carb to eating low carb. You get your body fat adapted, you're not going to need the snacks, you're down to 3 meals a day. Then once your body gets used to that, you try skipping breakfast, or at least you try to push breakfast later in the day and just get your body used to that idea. Before you know it, you can skip breakfast altogether and you're eating 2 meals a day. Now, from 2 meals, you start shrinking you start pushing the two meals closer together. So if they're 8 hours apart in the beginning, you push them 7, 6, 5, 4 hours until you're all the way down to OMAD, if that suits your goals, right? If you don't feel like you need autophagy and you don't have weight to lose, you just want the time saving, then maybe 16-8 is good for you. So again, you figure out where this fits for you. And then the way I see it is that for most people, you're going to stay primarily in OMAD until you have reached your goals, until you've lost your weight, you've reversed the insulin resistance, you've reversed the type 2 diabetes, then you stay in OMAD. And then, for all the reasons we talked about, once you have reached your goal, you're insulin sensitive, you've reached your goal weight, now it's going to depend. Some people are going to be perfectly able to stay on one meal a day, and they're not going to lose a lot of weight. They're going to be easy for them to maintain it there, and they find it easy to get all their nutrients in one meal. Great. But if you start losing too much and you don't want to lose too much, now, I don't think there's anything unhealthy with being very thin unless you start getting emaciated and pathologically thin and malnourished, but too much. Now, I don't think there's anything unhealthy with being very thin unless millions of people. It's too much. Now, I don't think there's any unhealthy with being very thin unless you start getting emaciated and pathologically thin.
contrary.
And pathologically thin and malnourished, but on the contrary, being quite thin probably gives you some longevity benefits, even though I think you can get most of those benefits by following these principles and just being in enough autophagy on a regular basis. But if you're starting to lose too much weight, or if you just want to enjoy 2 meals a day, then now you're going to move back. So you went from 2 meals a day to 1 meal a day, and this 1 meal a day is kind of crunch time. That's where you get things done. But when things are done, now you go back to 2 meals a day, or maybe alternate 2 meals with 1 meal to get the autophagy benefits. And that's where I would stay for the rest of my life. I would stay with 2MAD or OMAD. I would throw in some longer fasts every couple of months, twice a year, whatever fits you, because there's tremendous amount of research that shows that you get enormous health benefits, that it is much, much more important when you eat even than what you eat. Of course, you have to eat real food. That goes without saying. But when you eat is incredibly important, and there's some tremendous health benefits to giving yourself a sustained period without food. The cleanup, the autophagy, the insulin resistance, your body is designed for this. You eat something, you put it in storage. During the fasting, you pull it out of storage. That's how the body stays in balance, and it allows the body to clean itself up so you can stay healthy for the long term. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you check out that one. Thanks. Which is better for maximum weight loss, walking or running? Every year, millions of people resolve to lose weight, but every year, millions of people gain the weight back. Is that because they did something wrong, or because they are lacking in character and willpower? A lot of people believe in the notion of no pain, no gain, that we have to suffer in order to get results. But is that really how it works for weight loss and fat burning? Or is that more of a cultural conditioning that we should be more deserving of success if we suffer first? Well, in this video, you will learn the truth about how it really works, so that next time you resolve to lose weight, you can do it once and for all. Coming right up. Hey, I'm Dr. Ekberg. I'm a holistic doctor and a former Olympic decathlete. And if you want to truly master health by understanding how the body really works, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss anything. So the idea of losing weight and burning fat based on exercise like walking or running is based on the idea that we have to expend energy. We have to use up energy or calories, and therefore some of that energy is stored as fat, and therefore if we expend more energy, then we would burn the fat. And that makes a lot of sense, but it's not as simple as that. So first we want to look at, where does that energy come from, and how is it different if we're walking or running, or is it different? All right, so the two ways that the body makes energy is called oxidative phosphorylation. It's a big word, but it simply means that we're making energy in the presence of oxygen. It means we have enough oxygen supplied that we can send the fuel into something called a mitochondria, and that mitochondria uses oxygen to oxidize the fuel. And this fuel could be fat or glucose. And if we have enough oxygen, then we're going to make fuel, we're going to make energy called ATP. That's just the cellular currency. It doesn't really matter what it is. It's just the currency of energy in the cell. And we can make 38 units of ATP from 1 unit of glucose. And fat is a larger molecule, so we make more than 38 ATP. But that's not really important. The important part is that it's a very efficient way of making energy, and in the presence of oxygen, we can make a lot of it. And all of that oxidation is happening in the mitochondria. So because that is the preferred and the most efficient way for the body to make energy, and because at rest and at moderate levels of exercise, the body prefers to use that, and it prefers to use fat for fuel, at rest for our basal metabolic rate and for low intensity exercise, we use about 85% of the energy from fat and about 15% of it from glucose. But both of those fuel sources are channeled into the mitochondria for the use of oxygen to make ATP. All right? The alternative way of making energy is called glycolysis, and that word means it's from two parts. It's glucose, glyco means sugar, and lysis means to break apart or split. And that's exactly what it is. So when we don't have oxygen, when oxygen is not available, or when it's not available in sufficient quantities, when we're falling short, then the body relies on glycolysis. It starts splitting sugars, and this does not happen in the mitochondria. This is a separate mechanism. It happens inside the cell, in the cytoplasm, but outside the mitochondria. This is not very efficient at all. And we can only make 2 ATPs from 1 unit of glucose. So when we have oxygen, we can make 19 times more energy than when we don't have oxygen. So what this means is, this is an emergency way of making energy. It's super, super important for a crisis, such as when we don't have oxygen, or when we have to make a sprint, when there's an emergency, when we have to escape from something. Then we have a backup fuel, we have a backup method of making energy, but it's very inefficient. It costs us to make a certain amount of fuel. We have to use up a lot of glucose. 100% of this mechanism of this glycolysis comes from glucose, hence the name. Glycolysis, it's about sugar. It doesn't work for fat. So if you're planning to walk or run in order to burn fat and to lose weight, then we would want to understand, does this happen more during walking or running, or does that happen more? And what's the balance? How does that really work? When can we burn the most fat? Because ultimately that would be the goal. So there's something called aerobic metabolism. That means with air. And we're going to assume that when you're walking, that you're walking at an intensity where you're basically below 120 beats per minute of heart rate. Because at that heart rate, for most people, you're going to be breathing normally. You're not going to be huffing and puffing excessively. You're going to be breathing in.
Huffing and puffing.
and puffing excessively. You're going to be breathing in and out in deep breaths, but at a steady rate, and you're not going to be huffing and puffing. What that means is you have enough oxygen. When you're not huffing and puffing, you're supplying enough oxygen to provide the mitochondria enough oxygen to stay with the oxidative phosphorylation without needing to get in to start splitting sugar. And because of that, the aerobic metabolism, aerobic exercise, which is all activity when you're less intense than huffing and puffing, you're going to burn the vast majority of your fuel from fat, especially if you're fat adapted. So if you're fat adapted, you're probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 85% burned from fat and about 15% from glucose. But this is not glycolysis. This glucose is still going into the mitochondria for oxidation. As you increase your intensity, then that percentage, the glucose percentage, is going to go up just a little bit, but not a whole lot, because this is still mostly with oxygen. But as you cross over, as you cross into anaerobic and you start huffing and puffing, now there is no longer enough oxygen to provide the mitochondria with enough substrate, with enough oxygen to maintain this phosphorylation, this oxidative phosphorylation. So we can't rely on this exclusively anymore. So on top of this, the body will start breaking down glucose. It will start with glycolysis. It will start splitting sugar molecules. And again, because this is very inefficient, we're going to start using up a lot of carbohydrate rather quickly. So nothing is ever 0 or 100% in the body. There's always a mix of different pathways and different activities. But we can say for sure that if you're fat adapted and you're doing aerobic, you are in the vast majority of fuel provided from fat. But as you start huffing and puffing, now the glucose becomes dominant. So the intensity is going to determine how dominant it becomes, but pretty much as soon as you're huffing and puffing, you're going to be using more glucose, more carbohydrate than fat. So right here we want to start thinking that a lot of people think that, oh, well, you know, it's just about calories, that no pain, no gain. If I burn more calories, if I run faster, then I burn more fat. But that's not how it works, because you can't burn more fat than you can provide oxygen for. The only way to burn fat is with oxygen. So you can only burn fat up to the aerobic threshold. Then you can't do it. That mechanism kicks, it doesn't kick out, but it can't increase anymore. We have to add this on top of it. Okay? So then the question is, what happens after that? What are the other effects that we need to understand? Well, one thing we want to keep in mind is how long can you keep this up for, right? Because you're wanting to burn energy. You're wanting to burn that fat. And if you can keep something up for hours, like you can go for a walk for hours. You can do a leisurely bike ride for hours. You could do some eat. Bike ride for hours. You could do some easy rollerblading for hours if you're fit and capable and skilled to do that. But if you're running and huffing and puffing, you can't really keep that up very long. Depending on how fit you are and how fast you go, maybe 20 to 45 minutes if you do it on a regular basis. We're not talking about doing a marathon every day. So if you can go a whole lot longer, then you can burn a whole lot more fat. Again, if you do this, you're going to burn some more calories, but the calories won't be coming from fat because the oxygen sets the limit. So another thing that happens when we go from aerobic, which is a rather leisurely state, into anaerobic, which is a more high-stress state, is we change the perception of the body. We go from a peaceful to an emergency state. We're kicking in an emergency metabolic system, the reserve pathway. So now we're going to start using up glycogen and glucose rather quickly. So think of glucose and glycogen as this little reservoir right here. So some of this can be stored in the muscles for direct use by the muscles. But the glycogen in the muscles cannot come back out of the muscles. It can't re-enter circulation. It can't go back into the liver and become blood sugar for the rest of the body. So when we start using up glucose, it's not just the muscles, but the whole body starts sensing the need for more glucose. And when the body needs more glucose, then other than the muscles, which makes the fuel for the muscles, the only other reserve we have is the liver. And the liver can only store about 400 calories of glycogen, about 100 grams. That's not very much at all. And it doesn't want to blow all that glycogen all at once. So it starts to look for other ways. And the primary way to create more glucose is cortisol. And the cortisol starts telling the liver to convert some of that glycogen, but it also starts looking for other sources in the body, like amino acids and protein. So anywhere that the body can start to source more substrates, more things that it can turn into glucose, cortisol is going to tell the body to do that. That once we become more dependent, once we start using more carbohydrates, then we start becoming more dependent on carbohydrates. And because the reservoirs, the stores of carbs is called glycogen, they're very limited in the body. And once we start burning through them, the body is going to start looking for more immediately. And one way that it's